Cory Sandhagen reveals that Deiveson Figueiredo recently turned down a fight against him, comments on the bantamweight title picture, and reacts to MERAB becoming champion following his victory over Sean O'Malley. The Sandman was looking to secure himself his first title shot by defeating one of the most highly touted prospects in the division, Umar Nurmagomedov. And while showcasing a solid performance, he wasn't able to figure out the Umar puzzle, which ended up with his defeat by judges' decision. Following the bout, Umar praised Cory as one of the most dangerous bantamweight fighters in the whole company, going as far as saying that he's confident the two will cross paths inside the octagon again, as Cory's rise to another championship opportunity is just a matter of time. Well, Sandhagen doesn't want to waste any time and is ready to jump back into action. In his latest interview, Cory spoke about Deiveson turning down a fight against him, assessed MERAB versus O'Malley and what it means for the division, and shared thoughts on what is likely to come as a result of all of this.
I thought MERAB did awesome. I think he fought the fight that you should fight if you have MERAB's skill set against an O'Malley. I think he moved when he needed to move. I think the thing that I was most worried about is MERAB's just a very excitable guy, and I was worried that he was just gonna not be patient and he was gonna bounce around and then make a mistake by going in. And he was completely patient. He was cool in there. I told the UFC after the last loss, I was like, look guys, like I just took an entire year off. I don't really want to spend another long stint without fighting. Like, can I get in before the year's end? And then they were like, yeah. And they were like, well, who do you want? And I was like, I mean, Figueiredo is kind of the guy that makes the most sense right now. So they tried to put that together. And then I suppose, I don't know if it was like specifically Figueiredo that didn't want to fight or if it was his camp or what. But, I mean, yeah, he just didn't want to fight. So I don't really know what his plan is. And I'm a little annoyed just because I feel like he just made a comment recently about how he's going to win the title and then defend it 3 times and then retire and all of this, but then he won't fight, you know, the tougher guys at the top right now, even before he's the champ. So
Daniel Cormier and Chael discussed the recent development in UFC's lightweight division, with McGregor versus Chandler getting cancelled and Oliveira versus Chandler being announced. Chandler's decision to wait for the Golden Goose didn't result in what he hoped for, and as he finally gave up the hope to be the one who welcomes Conor back into the sport, a fight that technically isn't a bit less interesting, the Charles-Oliveira clash was thrown to fans out of nowhere. Not many complained, however, as any fight these two are involved in almost guarantees action and entertainment. Mike hasn't erased the option of fighting Conor sometime in the future, and while he expressed frustration with the unreliability of the Irishman, he still left the door open for a potential future fight. While attending Joshua's last fight, Conor spoke with reporters, and when asked about Chandler versus Charles, he said that he was happy for Michael, he roots for him, and is willing to share the octagon with him still. In what direction all of this will take Chandler is anyone's guess. DC and Chael offer their analysis.
Michael Chandler is now leading what we all should do. Let's go forward. Maybe it took us a while to get here, but now we're here. Let's move on.
Yeah, well said.
He actually got a tougher fight, which is crazy. Because for as big as a fight as Conor McGregor was, Chandler will never get a bigger fight. But he did get a tougher fight. Yep. Charles Oliveira is still fighting at the top of the game. Charles Oliveira was scheduled to fight for the world championship and then got hurt with the big cut. Charles Oliveira fought Sarukian and fought him competitively, who is now fighting for the world championship. These guys are as good as they come. Michael Chandler, though, has sat, and that's the problem. The problem is when he fought Oliveira the first time, and the first time when his fight was announced, we're all talking about it. Me, John, we're all kind of having conversation. And it's like, well, Mike was 1 punch, 10 seconds from becoming world champion when they fought in Houston back in the day. But that was Michael Chandler who was fighting. This Michael Chandler today has not fought in 2 years.
Chimaev reacts to Khabib Nurmagomedov's problems with Russian authorities, him getting raided and arrested at his gym, and the tax issues. In an interview with a Russian vlogger, Adam Zubarev, the Chechen middleweight contender was asked about his relationship with Khabib and the beef they had. The conflict with Khabib's brother Abubakar, and his comments about smashing Khabib. Chimaev explained that everything was spun by the media as something much bigger than it was, and basically stated that all of it was a misunderstanding that got resolved quickly. Zubarayev later asked him about Khabib getting arrested in his gym a couple of weeks ago and his problems with the Russian government due to tax evasion issues, to which Khamzat gave a humorous response, but later corrected himself, expressing sympathy. Khabib's problems in Russia reportedly began after he failed to properly pay taxes multiple times, which resulted in an investigation and a summoning to court. As he was in Abu Dhabi at the time of the order, he missed the date and was arrested in Moscow upon arriving. After this, information about him leaving Russia to live in Abu Dhabi for good was shared on Russian social media space, though no specific commentary on the subject or confirmation by Khabib or his team was provided. This situation became a massive story in Russia and the post-Soviet space. When asked to share his thoughts about the topic, Chimaev jokingly suggested that Conor might follow up on his offer to buy Khabib's house. Quote, "Yes, of course I have heard about this. I don't think it is right for the government to punish the athletes of their country like that, especially someone that brought a lot of attention to his region through his achievements in the sport. They raided his gym and arrested him and stuff. It's a bit too extreme. It's funny I saw Conor said he would buy Khabib's house so the government doesn't seize it. Let's see if he does it. I'm joking, but yeah, of course it's bad to hear stuff like this about my countrymen. I wish him all the best. I think athletes like us shouldn't be having problems of this kind with our own government." End quote. ARIEL HELWANI comments on the Jon Jones situation, the heavyweight division, and Tom Aspinall as an odd man out. In his conversation with Demetrius Johnson, the Nose restated his sentiment, which he's been expressing for a long time, that Jones versus Stipe fight doesn't even need a title. HELWANI thinks that UFC should just hold the November headliner as a separate entity, not a title bout. He didn't comment on the dynamics of such situation, if what it would actually mean if broken down technically. In such scenario, UFC would have to strip Jon of his heavyweight title, something that is close to impossible and would result in Aspinall becoming undisputed champion by default. Why would Jon or Stipe agree to this wasn't mentioned in this conversation. ARIEL and DJ talked about the disputed heavyweight crown and offered advice to Tom Aspinall, basically saying that he should act as Conor McGregor did before his fight against Aldo.
I don't think Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic needs a title. It's just like a fun legacy fight. Greatest light heavyweight champion of all time against most decorated heavyweight champion of all time. You don't need a belt.
Yep.
And especially because those guys are at the tail end of their careers. Like, there's a chance Stipe wins that fight and retires. And so you've just held on to that title for what? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah, it's weird. It's clunky. But I think what Tom is doing is the best thing. Just move on. You're an interim champ. You're still going to get pay-per-view points. You still have that gold around your waist. Just act like it. Own it. Just like when Conor beat Chad Mendes. He said, "I'm the real champ." You freaking say it. Perception is reality.